This is an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File Program with Peter Anthony Holder.
We have lost yet another comedic giant who has gone too soon. It was just months ago that Bob Saget died suddenly, and now one of his comedic contemporaries and a close friend of his, Gilbert Gottfried, has died after a long battle with muscular dystrophy at the age of 67. It's ironic that as people continue to debate the slap heard round the world, Gilbert Gottfried was a comic that never shied away from going there comedically, regardless of the repercussions of his words, and there were many repercussions. He believed that comedy was comedy, no joke was too soon, and he stood by it, never apologizing for his act. He was uniquely funny, and a talent who was unafraid of stepping on the third rail. I had a short recorded conversation with Gilbert, which we'll feature for you now. It's short because most of what we talked about was off the record. Plus, we were having lunch together at the Delta Hotel, which was ground zero for the Just for Laughs Festival. The year was 1994, and Gilbert was already a comedic mainstay with movies, television, many appearances at Just for Laughs, and yes, controversy. Here is that conversation now.
So you've been here several times now at the festival, Just for Laughs, and your career has progressed along rather well with each appearance. Not that the festival is responsible for your appearances, or your success, but how would you assess your career at this moment?
My career's in the toilet. It's just totally gone. It's over. My career's over with. At very best, I can hope I can gain about 60 or 70 pounds, become an alcoholic, and do episodes of Murder, She Wrote. Maybe I'll show up as a pickpocket in a future Matlock episode, but other than that, it's all over for me.
Well, you've worked for Disney on 2 occasions. That's one more time than Peggy Lee has.
Yes, but me and Peggy Lee are going to work together one of these days. Yeah, I did Aladdin, the parrot in Aladdin, and also The Return of Jafar. And The Return of Jafar's in videotape. That's in video. You can go out to your video store and rent that now. Rent it now. In fact, we'll wait here. You run out and rent that. And I'm not going to say anything further until you've rented that and watched it. And once you've rented it and watched it, then I'll come out. But other than that, I won't say another word.
How would you describe your career? Because I'm not going to describe it for our audience.
Okay, let me see how I can describe it in words that you can actually use on radio. How would I describe my career? Let's see. Mongoose, to put it in one word. Yeah, I don't know. It just is a good word, and it's a word I like using. So I'll have to describe it as mongoose.
Well, let's go back to Disney then.
Yes.
You've done the part of the parrot. How was it getting that role, and how arduous a task was that, putting it together? I understand it's a lot of time in studio.
Yes. Well, first of all, Disney looked at Aladdin and they said, this film is too Gentile even by our standards. We got to get a Jew right away. And they just said, get us a Jew. We don't care who it is. It could be Ben Gurion. We don't care. Get us Alan King. Just get us a Jew right away. And they got on the hotline to me, and I did it. And then I lived with a family of parrots for a year to get into character. Because, if I didn't, then parrots would watch the movie and go, I don't walk that way.
A lot of comics have come through the comedy club routine, the circuits, playing big shows, and then go into sitcoms. We haven't seen the Gilbert Gottfried sitcom yet. Why not?
Yes. Eventually I'll have to write a sitcom for myself where I'm a single parent who has obnoxious, precocious kids, because I don't think that's been done before. I think it's going to be something new.
Are the networks afraid of Gilbert Gottfried?
They should be, because I carry around sharp objects with me.
I noticed that you haven't been on the Emmys for a while.
Yes. I am not welcome on the Emmys because of my Pee Wee Herman routine. Right, basically said I sleep better at nights knowing Pee Wee Herman's been arrested. If masturbation's a crime, I should be on death row. And for some reason they didn't like that. Go figure.
Do you have a problem working with networks? Is that one of the reasons why we don't get to see you on network TV, or you're not interested in doing network TV?
Oh, no, not interested at all. I'd grab anything that came along. Believe me, if they wanted me to be with one of the twins on Full House, I'd take it.
If you could write your own ticket tomorrow and say, this is what I would like to do with my career, this is either the movie or the show that I'd like to do, what would it be? What is a perfect venue for Gilbert Gottfried?
It would be one day's work, make it 10 million because I can write my own ticket. 20 million. Okay, 20 million, one day's work, and a lot of nudity. My luck, it would be with Brian Dennehy, but granted.
You are now doing the, as you said, you did the second Aladdin film. Robin Williams did not.
No, because he hates me, basically. He called them, he said, is Gilbert Gottfried working on this? They said, yeah. He said, well, then I'm not.
Between the two of us, I understand that the Disney studios can be a little bit cheap. Is that true?
Them cheap, ha, ha, ha. Oh, what an active imagination you have. Them cheap? No, for the first film alone, which brought in like $20 billion, I got a hat, and I think they're going to be sending me a Mickey Mouse bumper sticker.
Will he be doing a third Aladdin?
I'm sure, till I squeeze every penny out of it.
Thank you for talking with us.
Sure. Yeah, I had to talk to someone.
That was a brief recorded chat with Gilbert Gottfried from July 28th of 1994. As I mentioned, we were having lunch. Gilbert was a brilliantly funny and deep guy, and despite what you heard when he performed, when he was off stage, he also had a normal speaking voice. As I said earlier, as a comedian, he was unafraid, and it cost him. You heard him mention his unwelcome routine at the Emmys. While he wasn't the Affleck Duck yet, back in 1994, a gig that would come 6 years later, he would lose that gig after 11 years because of a joke he made about the Japan tsunami. By the way, Affleck gets 75% of its revenues from Japan. He was also probably the first to talk about 9/11 when he was part of a roast for Hugh Hefner. In some corners, that didn't go over too well either. Regardless, Gilbert Gottfried was unabashedly fearless as a comedian. It's ironic that both he and Bob Saget would leave us so close together, because in the pantheon of comedy, when anybody asks the question, what's the dirtiest, filthiest, funniest joke that anybody has ever said on stage, the winning joke would be a ditty known as The Aristocrats. Many a comedian has done a version of that joke, but nobody, living or dead, has better versions of that joke than Bob Saget and Gilbert Gottfried. You can find both versions somewhere online. Both were different, both were filthy, both were extremely funny. And now both of those comics are gone. Gilbert Gottfried, dead at 67. Gilbert, it was a pleasure and an honor to have chatted with you, to have watched you, and to have dined with you. You will be missed.
You've just heard an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File Program with Peter Anthony Holder. To hear any or all of the full hour-long shows, visit thestufffile.com. Stuff is spelled S-T-U-P-H. That's thestufffile.com. A presentation of Flying Fish Communications.